Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted to have a discussion about what is Ozpins Semblance. Although Ozpin has been introduced within Chapter 1 of Volume 1 of RWBY, the one question that has still stood about his character is what his semblance could possibly be, considering that, for all we know, we may not have actually seen it. So today we're going to speculate on what it could be. So sit back, relax, hope you all enjoy, let's go ahead and get started. For the longest amount of time, Ozpin himself has been a mystery in the series up until Volume 6. Little bits about him would start to be kind of thrown out there from time to time, and it would be foreshadowed at certain points, but up until Volume 6, Chapter 3, we didn't really know that much about Ozpin's character. We just knew of the present-day Ozpin, but not so much Ozma, but even though we know some things about his character more now than we did previously, one thing that we still don't know to this very day is Ozpin's actual semblance. This has been one thing that's really been hidden from us, and even to this very moment it still is, or at least to our own knowledge. So much similar to Jean and the whole speculating on what his semblance was till it was revealed, the same thing can be said for Ozpin at this point. Even though we did see him fight in Volume 3, that didn't tell us his semblance exactly. And so now that leaves us to continue to speculate until this is actually revealed. And I've heard some interesting ideas from some of you, and I am actually going to bring that up. I'm actually going to bring up some of the foreshadowing to what was believed to be his semblance, and I'm actually going to bring up the Volume 3 fight, because that actually could give us some clues onto what his semblance actually was as well. Because there are actually a few things we have to go on when it comes to Ozpin. Now, the original idea was going to be that reincarnation was his semblance. And now, that is something that a lot of people even came up with. I thought myself that this was his original idea for the semblance. And there are multiple reasons for that. Because when you look at the character, and we know that Ozpin himself wasn't really there in Volume 1, whenever Ruby and Yang noticed that once he gave his speech, he sounded very off. And they said that it sounded like he wasn't even there. So that was one clue that Ozpin was a little off already as a character, that something felt strange about him. And it made people think that what could that strange thing be? So this was the first evidence to the foreshadowing of Ozpin's character of the reincarnation bit. And then we obviously get later on that he has been reincarnated upon multiple times over his lifespan because he was cursed by the gods. Now, think of that is that while we did get that in Volume 5 about him being cursed by the gods, which soon enough turned out to not actually be a curse, it was actually another lie because Ozpin actually chose to be reincarnated. So we did learn that, but this actually has been changed from what the original idea was, because Ozpin's character, one of the things that he's based off of is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, I've brought this up on multiple occasions in the past, but the book that Blake was actually reading was The Man with Two Souls, fighting over control over the host body. And that is based off the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that story is pretty much the same thing, where Dr. Jekyll creates Mr. Hyde and they fight over control over Dr. Jekyll's body. Now, that was the real big foreshadowing to making you think that Ozpin's semblance may have actually been reincarnation. And then when you go to World of Remnant Aura, and if you did not get to see that, that's because it was actually in the Blu-ray DVD release of RWBY Volume 2. So if you didn't get to see that World of Remnant, that's because it was actually in this Blu-ray DVD release, which is kind of strange. But we have to go to a statement that it actually brings up within this episode of World of Remnant. Semblance is a term used to describe the projection of aura into a more tangible form. For some, this could be the ability to control objects with telekinesis. For others, it could mean superhuman strength. The power associated with a wielder's semblance is completely unique. With enough training and focus, a user's aura can turn them into something much more than just a man. Now, when this statement goes off within the episode, it shows a silhouette of Ozpin. And this tells you that the idea was originally going to be Ozpin's semblance of reincarnation, but this was later changed, as I stated before. So now that that has been changed, this now leads us to another idea of what could it be, because since reincarnation is now known to not be his semblance, then what is he capable of? What could Ozpin actually be able to do? Now, I first want to go off what some of you said in the comments before previously. And this is an interesting idea that was brought up. And this one was that maybe Ozpin has the ability to manipulate others into doing what he wants them to do. Now, I find this thought that some of you had to be very interesting because it would actually make sense that Ozpin could possibly just use a semblance to make people believe what he's saying is true. Now, if you think about it, look at how diehard Crow was to the belief of what Ozpin told him. He was a firm believer of what Ozpin had told him. Look at Ironwood and look at Glinda. They had believed him as well, and Tai Yang even believed in Ozpin. And Raven did it one time until she went AWOL figuring out the truth behind him, or at least some of the truth. I mean, to how much we know that Raven knows, we're not really sure, but we know she knows certain things. Also, being able to convince Team RWBY and Team Juniper to actually join him, this was another way to show that he's very good at making people believe what he's saying. So manipulation could be a possibility of Ozpin's semblance. But yet again, we are still very unsure of that. But Ozpin was also able to talk Pyrrha into really working with him as well. And I have to say, this could be a possibility for a semblance, considering that people really do fall under believing in Ozpin, or at least they did until the truth was revealed. So this is something that I find to be very interesting. But the next thing that we really need to look at, and we have to look at Ozpin's powers as well, because Volume 3 really showed us this, and this is another possibility of what Ozpin could do. So, looking back at Volume 3, the fight between Cinder and Ozpin. Ozpin had proved that he had very great and immense physical power. We also did get to see that he had superhuman speed, and once he was moving, whenever he was using his speed, we also saw green after images coming from him. And we also saw that Ozpin had great defensive abilities, such as when he was able to cast the barrier around himself when Cinder was actually using her maiden powers on him. So, we don't know specifically if this is his magic, which we do know is dwindling over time, making him weaker than he would have originally been. So, this could be magic, this could be the aura training, because with aura training, one can become very powerful, as stated within World of Brim Aura. Or this could be his semblance to amplify his abilities. Now that would be interesting if his semblance was able to amplify his physical abilities, because if you think about it, we didn't just see this in Volume 3, we saw this again in Volume 5 whenever Ozpin was actually fighting Hazel. We saw him do the same motions and fighting style that he had whenever he was fighting off against Cinder. While it was not as strong as when it was whenever he was fighting Cinder, or as fast, it really did seem to replicate that exact moment. So I could see Ozpin actually being able to amplify his own physical prowess so that he could actually take on any foe that he goes up against. Now that would be a very interesting semblance. Or the idea that the barrier is actually his semblance that he used to protect himself from Cinder's attack, because if you think about it, he was a knight at one time, and knights are usually sworn to protect the people that they are fighting for. So that could be something, that it could be a protection in a sense that would be like how he was a knight and sworn to protect the people. Now that would be another interesting idea for a semblance in my opinion. But those are just some of my thoughts on what Ozpin semblances could be. Let me know what you think Ozpin semblance could be down below. Do you agree with any of these? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this video informative or useful. Well anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.